Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another FutureFight Vanguard video. Today we're going to be finishing up our FutureFight Bang Dream series set with the Hello Happy World deck. Definitely the strongest deck out of this set. This deck is, in my opinion, absolutely insane, and it can definitely fight all of the other regular decks inside of our meta, or inside of our game of Vanguard. This deck is very similar to, if you guys have played Premium, like GB8 Spike Brothers, in my opinion. It is basically like a one-shot explosive kill turn deck, and this deck does that very well. And basically on its second grade 3 turn, or even its first grade 3 turn, it can be very explosive and just end the game for your opponent if you have all the pieces. It does a really good job of getting all the pieces that it needs in the early game as well, increasing your hand advantage to pretty much extreme amounts or really insane amounts, and it just ends up being really good as a result. So we're gonna get right into the deck. If you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe down below and click the bell button so you don't have to miss any future Cardfight Empire content. Also be sure to click the like button and comment down below letting me know your thoughts of the deck. Do you think this deck is as insane as I think it is? Because I'm curious to know. Also be sure to share it with your friends. Check out my second channel, Let's Plays Animes, where I cover anime, animation, and video games, sometimes with the help of friends, down in the description below as well. Also be sure to check out our Twitch, which is LPA Empire, and be sure to check out that join button next to the subscribe button below if you guys want to support the channel further than that. But we're going to get right into the deck here today. The final deck of Bang Dream is kind of bittersweet because I've definitely had a lot of fun playing these Bang Dream decks, and there's officially one other type of Bang Dream deck, but I don't know why they shafted it so hard. It's actually Reza Suilin, if I'm pronouncing that right, but they didn't give it enough support cards to actually be like a real deck, so I'm not going to cover that one. So we're just going to say that there's 5 real Bang Dream decks, which is pretty much true, and yeah, we're going to get it right into it. So for the last time, I'm going to explain all the different caveats of the Bang Dream clan. So what Bang Dream does is essentially they have pretty much things that they have similar is they usually have a main card that has the same name as their starter, at least like the second part of the name. So it'll have like a name. So for this deck is Kokoro Tsurumaki. So we have like a grade 0 Kokoro, we have a 0, 1, a 1, 2, and 3, and a 0. Kokoro Tsurumaki, and basically they all do different stuff supporting the deck, and usually they have an ability that allows you to search out your order cards, and you have these things called music orders in the Bang Dream deck, which basically when they get played, instead of a normal order card like getting played and then going to your drop zone after use, basically they get played on the center of your middle rear guard column in the back behind your Vanguard. And then basically they stay there for the entire turn, and they do whatever they do on the rear guard circle, and they give you abilities and really insane effects. So yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. So first of all, starting off with our grade 3s, we only have 4 grade 3s in this deck because there's only one grade 3 that you ever want to be on / can use in this deck, and that is on stage ! Kokoro Tsurumaki. So what Kokoro does is when she's placed on the Vanguard circle, you can search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 card with Michelle in its card name, call it to rear guard, and if you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. So I want to discuss this skill for a second. This skill is actually a leg up better, in my opinion, than all of the other Bang Dream cards that have a similar ability, because all of the other Bang Dream grade 3s have an ability that say when you counterboss 1, you can search your deck for an order card, but this card actually searches for Michelle, which is this grade 1, and then that grade 1 is the one that has the ability to get the order card. So you're actually plussing even more by just the deck working as it is. It's also completely free, so if your opponent, and you can get it from deck or drop zone, so if your opponent blows it up or does anything to it, like just another one, like riding another one will guarantee that you have it for the next turn. So really cool, especially because there's a lot of good ways to get this grade 3 into your hand so you can ride it multiple times. And when you're riding the second one, you're pretty much ending the game, because I haven't seen an opponent yet that survived a second turn of me riding this card and doing the attack turn. So then its secondary Vanguard skill is when it attacks, if a Hello Happy World music was played during this turn, you may call a card from your hand to rear guard. So basically, this deck focuses on attacking and bouncing the hand like hit and run mechanics, similar to Spike Brothers and Bermuda Triangle. And basically they hit and run, hit and run, hit and run, and they keep returning to the field with abilities. So this is one of the abilities that you want to use during your battle phase. There's a specific combo that you want to do that gets you a lot of attacks with good power, at least that I've discovered so far. And you want to pretty much do that combo against your opponent to try to claim a win against them. Moving on to our grade 2s, we have 4 Smiling Hurricane Kokoro Tsurumaki. So this is our grade 2 Kokoro. It has 2 abilities, one on the Vanguard circle and one on the Rearguard circle. The Vanguard ability is when placed, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 grade 3 card with Kokoro Tsurumaki and its card name from among them, put into your hand and shuffle your deck. So again, this is another one of those cards where it's basically like the Ignoro Dragon from Kagero, where it searches top 7 for the Dragonic Overlord the Cross. This one does the same thing, but it searches specifically for grade 3 Kokoro, and if you find it, you get to just add it to your hand. You don't have to discard or anything, so it's a pure +1 if you find it. And then when it's placed on the Rearguard circle, you may call a card from your hand to Rearguard circle. So again, this matches with the whole theme of bouncing then calling, because basically you would attack with both your front rows, bounce them, and then call a Kokoro Tsurumaki grade 2, which allows you to call another card from your hand as well to complete another attack. So moving on to our next grade 2, we have 4 Bursting Smile Hagumi Kitazawa. So what Hagumi does is when she's placed on the Rearguard circle, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. It's that simple. That's all she does. And honestly, what she does is very, very good just because of the, the bounce and replace mechanic. So you're just always placing a good beater on your front row Rearguard circle to attack your opponent with. Then we have, ending out our grade 2s, we have 4 Smiling Noble Kaoru Seta. So what Kaoru does is on Rearguard circle, when she attacks, if a Hello Happy World music was played during this turn, we can Soul Blast 1, and then until the end of the battle, your opponent must intercept if possible, and at the end of that battle, return this unit to your hand. So basically, usually you use Michelle, the grade 1, to bounce cards to your hand after they attack, but however, if you use her ability, she costs Soul Blast 1, and then she bounces herself at the end of the battle, which is the same thing that Michelle would do, just additionally. So Michelle costs the Soul Blast to bounce cards, and this card costs the Soul Blast to bounce itself, and it also makes your opponent intercept with as much as possible. So what you ideally want to do is you attack your opponent for either a very large number, and then you use this card, and they basically have to intercept, which means that they have to guard inefficiently. Maybe they wanted to PG the attack or something like that, or maybe they wanted to just guard with like just a crit trigger. Then now they lose their intercepts and like a crit trigger, so they're over guarding essentially. And this is like why we always kind of start off the combo with this card, to make sure that we get rid of any pesky intercepts right off the bat before we do the rest of our attack turn. So moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 Loving Everybody Kokoro Tsurumaki. So our grade 1 Tsurumaki, what it does is Vanguard Rearguard circle, when its attack or the attack that it boosted hits, you may look at the top 2 cards from the top of your deck. If you looked, then you reveal up to 1 Hello Happy World card from among them, put into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this card is just another pure +1. The chances are, since all of your cards except for your triggers in this deck are Hello Happy World cards, the chances are when you hit with this card, or this card participated in the battle as an attacker or a booster, chances are when you hit this card, you're going to get a +1 off of it, and it's a pure +1 with no negative, no negative things happening off of it. So that's just a really, really raw, good card, and it makes going second really good as well, because you can do stuff like just ride into it and then plus yourself 1 when your opponent no guards, which they probably will on turn 1, like most decks tend to do. Moving on to our next grade 1, we have 4 Delivering Smiles DJ Michelle. So this is our DJ Michelle doggy card. This is probably one of the best cards in the deck. Not only can it be searched off of grade 3 Kokoro Tsurumaki, however, since they placed well, let's go over the abilities first. So the first ability is at the end of the battle that a Hello Happy World unit on your Rearguard attack, you can Soul Blast 1 and return that unit to your hand. So again, very similar to Kaoru, where Kaoru bounces itself, except this can do it with anything. So basically the ideal thing you want to do is attack with your front row and then bounce them, especially bouncing your Hagumis, and then just playing your Hagumis back with the other skills that say that you can play them back. And then it has the second ability of, if an order was not played during your turn, counterblast 1, search your deck or drop zone for 1 Hello Happy World music card with a grade equal to or less than your opponent's Vanguard and play it. And if you searched your deck, then you shuffle your deck. So the reason why this is so good that they placed this on the grade 1 instead of the grade 3 is now, like, if you have even a counterblast on your grade 1 turn, then now you have access to every single one of your music order cards from turn 2. From the instant that you get a counterblast and you have DJ Michelle on the field, you have access to searching your order cards, and that's really, really good, because in other Bang Dream decks, you kind of have to wait till, if you don't have any of your order cards in your hand, you kind of just have to wait until you get to grade 3 to start proccing your order cards, which is not always efficient. So having DJ Michelle there is just very, very good for that. Then for our last grade 1, we have 4 forward-looking Smile Cannon Matsubara. So what Cannon Matsubara does is, at the end of the battle that it boosted, if a Hello Happy World music card was played during this turn, you can return this unit to your hand and soul charge 1. So again, this builds your soul, which is something that this deck uses heavily to bounce cards and do its skills. And then it also bounces itself to the hand so that you can use it as a 10k shield, and it doesn't have to be on the board anymore to get retired by your opponent's control or anything like that. And that's very, very good. Moving on to our grade 0s, we have 1 World Start Kokoro Tsurumaki. Just like every other starter in this game, when you ride upon it, draw a card, and then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, put a quick shield ticket into your hand. So pretty basic. And then we have 7 crit, 5 draw, and 4 heal. So we have 7 Glittering Memories, which are the Hello Happy World style ones. And then we have 4 Everyone Made the #1 stage. We have 1 Heart Thumping Dream, and 4 Best Live, all being the Hello Happy World style. So now let's go over our order cards that we skipped, because it will make more sense after I've explained all the cards now. So we run 1 of the grade 3 order card, 1 of the grade 2 order card, and 3 of the grade 1. So that will be 1 Egal Sing a Song, 1 Sekai Nobi Nobi Treasure, and then 1 Egal no Orchestra. So basically for our grade 3 card, this is what makes the deck so hard hitting and makes that turn just so threatening, where your opponent just has no choice but to die. So what this card does is it has 2 rearguard abilities. So basically, remember that your order will be on the rearguard in the back row behind your Vanguard in the middle column. So the rearguard abilities do trigger. So it has a rearguard ability that says when your Hello Happy World card is placed during your battle phase, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, then the placed unit gets plus 10,000 power until the end of the turn. So what that means is you attack with basic numbers, boom, boom, and then basically you bounce them, and when you call them back, they will start getting plus 10,000, which is hard for your opponent to deal with, especially if it's cards like Hagumi, and Hagumi already gets 10,000 by itself. So coming out, it gets another 10,000, and if you have a force marker, it gets another 10,000, at least if it's force 1. So it's very hard for your opponent to deal with just the high number of columns and the high pressure, the number of attacks, and that's what makes it just really hard for your opponent to survive the turn that I'm talking about. Also, this deck is really good at rushing them in the early game, so that way, by the time you get to grade 3 and you start to do your kill turn, they're already at 3 or 4 damage, which makes it really, really easy to start pushing through. Also, the other rearguard ability of this card, it says at the end of the battle that a Hello Happy World on your Vanguard or rearguard circle attacked, you may counterboss 1 and call a card from your hand to rearguard circle. So, again, you want to attack, bounce your cards, and then either with grade 3 Kokoro or the skill of Sing a Song, you want to counterboss 1 and call those units to the board so that you can perform more attacks. For our grade 2, we have 1 Sekai, like I said. So what Sekai does, it has 2 rearguard abilities. The first one is if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2 or greater, all your front row units get plus 5,000. So this adds to your grade 2 rush that I was talking about before. Really just helps you get some damage through to your opponent, so that when, later on, you start hitting them pretty heavy and they don't have as many chances to check damage triggers against you, which is something that could hurt this deck or cripple a turn significantly. So, and then it has another rearguard ability that says once per turn, when your Hello Happy World unit attack hits, you may draw a card and soul charge 1. So not only will your opponent most likely let one of your attacks hit, especially the Vanguard, you will get to draw a card and then soul charge 1, which is fueling, your cost for your deck. Like I said, soul is important. So any card that soul charges, you really, really value that. And you just don't want to, if you soul charge anything but a trigger, it's a good soul charge on any day of the week. So really good. So then we have 3 Egal no Orchestra, mainly because if we can't use these two and we don't have Michelle, we run 3 of them so that we can like open up with them in our hand or open up with something similar and then try to use it in the early game, because later game we won't be using it. We'll be using these two. So so it has a Vanguard ability that says when placed, if your Vanguard is a Hello Happy World card, look at the top 2 cards from your deck, put up to 1 from your hand, or put 1 card from among it into your hand, and put 1 into Soul. So another card that Soul charges, except this is a specific Soul charge, so you get to look at the top 2, add 1 card to your hand that you need, and then the other card can just go to the Soul, which is just very, very good. So moving into our games here, we have Hello Happy World Game 1. So it looks like we're playing against what would be Blau. And this comes out in a future set. So this is my first time playing against this Blau deck. But my opponent rides Extreme Battler Airshid, which is the top 5 for a grade 3 card. Checks a crit, so we take 2 damage. For our turn, we ride into Kokoro. We look at top 7 and we whiff, but it's okay because we have the grade 3 already. So we decide to play Hagumi and then play Kaoru. We use DJ Michelle skill to counter blast 1 and search the grade 1 order card. So we look at the top 2 and we put 1 in the hand, which is our grade 3, and then we put 1 into the Soul. So then we attack for 10k to his Vanguard. He takes it. We attack for another 10k, checking, and then we attack for 28, and we decide not to bounce this one because we do have a copy of it in our hand. So the reason that we bounced this Kaoru is because we didn't want it to be destroyed by any random means. So our opponent rode Blaukluger, used the ability to look at the top 7 for a Blau card, and ends up getting Stern Blaukluger while playing a Blaukluger on the rearguard circle. And he actually puts the Stern back to get a Blau Panzer. Then he plays Blau Panzer. I guess he just wanted a booster. So he attacks us for 17. We block that. His grade 2 goes into Soul. He draws a card. And then he attacks us for 9 to Vanguard. We no guard, which makes it a 1 to pass. And then he does check a critical trigger. So far, we're getting sacked. But we do check 2 draw triggers on damage. So that's very, very good. And then we ride Kokoro Tsurimaki, the grade 3. And we proceed to use DJ Michelle's skill after playing these 2 to search for the grade 2 order card because our opponent is grade 2. So all of our front row units get plus 5k. And then we go into the battle phase. We swing at our opponent for 23. Our opponent chooses to block that first hit. And then we attack. Then he chooses to take it after that. So because he took it, we use the skill of Sekai to draw a card and soul charge 1. And then we attack for 28. Our opponent no guards. We do check a draw trigger and putting the power to our rear guard. Our opponent checks a draw trigger as well, putting the power to his Vanguard. And then we end our turn after he blocks. He goes into Stern Blaukluger, goes for Excel 2, draws a card. And then he starts playing down a board. Basically, all of these are so big because Stern Blaukluger gives all grade 3 units with Blau in its name plus 10. He attacks with the rear guard 22. We take it. We do get a heal trigger, giving the power to Vanguard and healing. So we 2 to pass his Vanguard after that with a 10k. And that turns out amazingly because he does not check anything. And then he goes for the re-ride with Galaxy Blaukluger. And he attacks our Vanguard for 22. And we proceed to double intercept because we do have both of the pieces already in our hand. So that's a no pass for our opponent. He actually checked an extra one on accident, so I made him put it back. And then he attacks us for 27, which we damage check. We get another heal, and we heal down. So now we re-ride Kokoro Tsurimaki. And then we play down the Hagumi here, gets plus 10k. And we play down Kaoru here. DJ Michelle's skill, counter boss 1, and searches for our Sing a Song, which is our finishing card. And as you guys can see, he has 8 cards in hand, 4 damage, and 1 intercept that he can use. So we actually go for 20 here. forcing him to intercept. And then because of how his hand is set up, we make him intercept, and then he can either overguard by an extreme amount or choose to take it. So he loses his intercept and he takes it there. It doesn't hit a damage trigger. So then we attack for 28. He blocks that with a 20k shield. We use Michelle's skill to Soul Blast 1 bounce. We attack with Vanguard. Vanguard's skill happens and calls out the grade 2. The grade 2 skill happens and calls out Hagumi. So both of them get plus 10k because of Sing a Song. Our opponent guards for a 2 to pass for Vanguard. We don't check any triggers. We attack our Vanguard for 20, and then we use the skill to Soul Blast 1 bounce. And then we attack for 48. Our opponent PGs, and he thought he survived, but we Soul Blast 1 bounce, and then we use Sing a Song skill to Counter Blast 1 and call a rear guard from our hand, and then the grade 2 skill call Hagumi back again. So it's another 20 and 40k attack. So yeah, so he ends up not being able to survive that, and yeah, that is basically a display of the kill turn that is Hello Happy World. So we're going to load up Hello Happy World Game 2 here. This time we're playing against what seems to be Aqua Force. So we ride and we draw. Our opponent rides into Baragios, looks at top 5, gets a Maelstrom. So this seems like an updated Maelstrom deck with new support. So our opponent plays Bubble Wall Corporal on behind the Vanguard and on the rear guard. So we take it, he checks for top 7 for a Maelstrom card. He whiffs it, and then he attacks us with the 8, which we take as well. He checks top 7 for a Maelstrom card and gets one this time. Puts it into his hand for 3+. We go for Kokoro Surimaki. Check top 7, we get one. So now we have the whole setup in our hand, which is amazing. And then we go for playing Kaoru, and then we play for the grade 2 Kokoro. We play Cannon, and then we play DJ Michelle. We use DJ Michelle's skill to get the grade 1. We use our grade 1 order card skill. Look at the top 2. Put one in the hand and put one into the soul. So we attack for 10. He guards it for a no pass. We do check a draw trigger. And he checks a heal on damage. We use the skill to bounce and soul charge. And then we attack for 28, which he takes as well. Our order card at the end of the turn, after bouncing with Michelle, goes to the drop zone. And we end our turn. Our opponent rides Elpida, which looks like it's another Maelstrom support card. He attacks us for 17. He does get a PG draw, which is unfortunate for us. But we just take that there. And then he attacks us for 24. And because there was going to be 2 on hits that were going to go off, I just went ahead and intercepted. Because we do already have a Kaoru Seta. So we ride Kokoro. We use Kokoro's skill to search our deck for a DJ Michelle. And then we shuffle. And then we go ahead and play 2 grade 2s. And we use Michelle's skill to counter blast 1, get the grade 2 order because he's grade 2. All of our front row gets plus 5k. We go into battle phase. We attack for 23. Our opponent guards it with a front trigger. And then we attack for 28. Our opponent no guards, so we do check a critical trigger, giving the crit to Vanguard, power to our rear guard. Our opponent checks a front trigger on damage. And then we draw 1 soul charge 1 for Sekai, and then we attack with his final attack, and he takes it. And he goes to 5, which is the most important thing that we want to see. So basically, in my head, I was like, if he doesn't heal, he definitely dies. But if he heals, he probably still dies. I think the only way that he doesn't definitely die is if he like double heals down to 3 during his turn. Because he basically does not have enough cards in his hand to officially, you know, secure that he's going to win the game. So he attacks us with Maelstrom. We no guard. He does get a front trigger, so we do get a crit too. So we block both of the rear guard attacks so that he will not restand with Maelstrom. And then we ride our Kokoro Surimaki, giving the Force 1 to the rear guard circle. And then we proceed to get a DJ Michelle from our drop zone. And then we play a Kaoru Seta. We use Michelle's skill to counter boss 1 and get the grade 3 order card from our deck. And this time we attack using Seta, which will make him intercept with this. And so he guards with 2 cards. And then we attack with 16 with DJ Michelle. He guards with the card, and then we bounce it, and then we attack with Kokoro using Kokoro's skill, call the grade 2, and then call the other grade 2 off of this grade 2. So we attack for 23. Our opponent PGs, we do get a crit, giving it all to Hagumi. And then we attack for 20, he blocks, and then we attack for 50. And he proceeds to PG. Then we use the skill of Sing a Song, counter boss 1, and then call out our 20k and 40k column again, respectively, to swing. And he does not have any other cards to block with, and therefore he just dies. So as you guys can see, like, this Happy World combo is just very strong, and there's not many ways that you can contest it, in my opinion, like, except if you just beat them down. But they have like a lot of card advantage in their hand too, so I would imagine that their blocking is good. But our opponent goes, and we go ahead and use the grade 1 order card because we just have it early. So our opponent searches top 5 for a grade 3, and then uses the skill of the Calbu to get an additional drive check. We do no guard, and he doesn't check anything. However, we damage the grade 3 Sing a Song, which I was like, no, like now we need to heal that off to be able to do our final turn, because we do only run one of the grade 3 order card. So we check top 7, we do get the Kokoro, and then we play Seta. We use DJ Michelle's skill to get the grade 2 order, giving 5k to our front row. And then we proceed to attack for 15, checking a draw trigger, putting the power to rear guard and drawing. And then we draw Soul Charge because our Vanguard hit. And we attack for 23. And he must intercept with this, so he loses his Smoke Gear Dragon. And then we attack for 35. So not only is this just looking bad for him all around, he lost his Smoke Gear, so he would have to stride with multiple cards. So basically he G-assists and he whiffs, and then he leaves the game right there. So basically he determined that he could not win, so he basically just left the game. I think I recorded a Hello Happy World game 4, and this time we're playing against Riviere. So our opponent rides, we ride the grade 1 Kokoro, we attack. Our opponent no guards, then we check top 2, add a Kokoro card to our hand, put the other card on the bottom, which was a crit. Our opponent rides Lisa Lot and then goes into the grade 2 Riviere, attacks us for 10, which we no pass. And you guys can just see what I was talking about in the entire deck portion of the video of this deck. It builds extreme advantage, so you really don't care about anything in the early game because you have enough cards to block, and it's like you have these cards that you're able to have access to and use. So we go for a rush, playing down DJ Michelle to get our grade 2 music card. So our opponent no guards Vanguard, we check a crit, so crit to Vanguard, power to rear guard. We do draw 1 and Soul Charge 1 from our music order card. We bounce, and then we attack for 43. And then we use Michelle plus Kokoro. So we bounce with Michelle, and then we use Kokoro to get a free card. And then our opponent rides the grade 3 Riviere using Lisa Lot skill, and then attacks us for 31. And when he proceeds to check both of these, he left the game instantly after his turn was over. And I assume that's just because he knows how the deck works and he knows that he's gonna die. I could say from his hand here that there's no way that he would really survive. Yeah, there's no real way that he would survive because we would just search out the grade 3 and then we would go for our attack turn, and there's no real way that he comes out of it with only 4 cards in damage zone, and then only 5 cards in the hand. But But with that being said, this has been the Future Fight video for Hello Happy World. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment down below, letting me know your thoughts, and share the video with your friends. Also, be sure to check out my second channel down in the description below, Let's Plays Animes. Check out our combined Twitch, and there's going to be a lot of new stuff on both channels, so either join the Patreon for the other channel or join the join button for this channel so that you guys can get interested in all the contests and cool things that we have coming forward and planned. But with that being said, this has been Josh Stallworth from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on Monday's video with a new set. Peace, guys.